Buratino is a unique Russian self-propelled multiple rocket launcher system, MLRS, that has seen action in global hotspots like Afghanistan, Chechnya, Iraq and Syria. Like the enormous 240mm TOS-4 self-propelled mortar, the TOS-1's specialty is obliterating heavily fortified positions. Although some of these may be found in rural rebel strongholds and fortified caves, they have often been employed in heavily urbanized environments. It's gained a uniquely nasty reputation because of the horrifying effects of its fuel-air explosive warheads. To put it concisely, these are amongst the most devastating explosive weapons short of tactical nuclear weapons. Fuel-air explosives. TOS stands for Heavy Flamethrower, which is only accurate in a literal sense. Instead of projecting a stream of jellied gasoline, the TOS-1 launches a rocket carrying a fuel-air explosive, FAE. These were first employed by the United States in the Vietnam War because napalm wasn't destructive enough. Napalm munitions disperse a sticky, flaming liquid over a wide area. By contrast, a fuel-air explosive detonates the very air itself. A small explosive inside the FAE munition spreads a chemical cloud in the air through an aerosol effect. The gaseous cloud seeps effortlessly into buildings and caves and down into slit trenches. A secondary explosive then ignites the cloud, causing a massive and long-lasting explosion. While the heat generated by FAEs causes lethal burns in a wide radius, roughly 200 by 300 meters, the overpressure created by the sudden combustion of the air is even deadlier. The fiery blasts create a partial oxygen vacuum that kills and maims in a variety of grotesque ways and cannot be mitigated with body armor or hard cover. The pressure generated by a TOS-1 blast amounts to 427 pounds per square inch. For comparison, most conventional bomb blasts create roughly half that amount, and regular air pressure is 14 pounds per square inch. Victims near the center of a TOS-1 blast radius are crushed to death. Further out, the overpressure can break bones, dislocate eyes, cause internal hemorrhaging, and rupture eardrums, bowels, and other internal organs. It also sucks the air out of victims' lungs, possibly causing them to collapse, leading to death by suffocation. The United States was the first to use fuel-air explosives in the Vietnam War, dropping them by air to clear helicopter landing zones and minefields, and later deploying them as offensive weapons. In 2002, attempting to hunt down Osama bin Laden in the rugged mountains of Tora Bora, U.S. aircraft deployed thermobaric warheads on precision-guided missiles. The warheads would suck the oxygen out of the caves that Taliban fighters were hiding in. The Soviet Union adopted the weapons shortly after the United States did, using them in a border skirmish against the Chinese in 1969, and employing both air-dropped and ground-launched FAEs on a large scale in the war in Chechnya. The proliferation of TOS-1 systems through global conflict zones, detailed below, ensures they will continue to see use in combat. Rocket launching tanks. Most of Russia's artillery weapons use a light armored vehicle chassis, like that of the MTLB armored carrier. The 46-ton TOS-1, on the other hand, uses the much heavier hull of a T-72 tank. There's a good reason. The original TOS-1 model only had a range of around 3 kilometers, meaning it would have to withstand hostile fire from all kinds of enemy weapon systems. The TOS-1 mounts a launch unit with 3,230mm diameter rocket tubes. The prominence of the launch unit is what earned it the name Buratino, a long-nosed Pinocchio-like character in a children's story. The rockets can be fired individually or ripple-fired in mass in the space of 6 to 12 seconds. The vehicle also mounts a targeting computer and a laser rangefinder. Two types of rockets are equipped, ones with conventional incendiary warheads, and the fuel-air explosives discussed above. The sheer size of the rockets means that the TOS-1 requires not one but two TZMT reloading vehicles, all-terrain trucks equipped with cranes each carrying a full additional load of rockets. The TOS-1 vehicle has no real counterpart in use by Western militaries. While there are all kinds of multiple rocket launch systems in use, such as the M142 HIMARS in use by the U.S. Army to bombard ISIS in Iraq, they are all lightly armored weapons intended for long-range indirect fire. Furthermore, such rocket artillery typically relies on cluster munitions or conventional high-explosive warheads, not incendiary ammunition. The Russian army, however, fields long-range multiple-launch rocket systems like the Smerch and Uragan, capable of using incendiary warheads. The United States uses thermobaric warheads in smaller man-portable systems as well as larger air-launched munitions. Starting in 2001, new TOS-1 Solntsepek, Burning Sun, vehicles began entering service, with a range of 6 kilometers. This is sufficiently long range to allow it to fire beyond retaliatory fire from the majority of anti-tank weapons. The new vehicle comes with an improved ballistics computer as well. Because it fires heavier 90-kilogram rockets, the number of launch tubes was reduced to 24. The TOS-1 and -1A are integrated into Russian nuclear biological chemical (NBC) battalions. These units also field the RPOA Shmel, Bumblebee, man-portable rocket launchers that fire smaller 90mm thermobaric charges up to a range of 1,000 meters, or 1,700 meters using the latest types. These are intended as bunker-buster weapons, as thermobaric warheads are particularly effective against structures and their occupants. The Trail of Devastation. The first combat use of the TOS-1 Buratino is recorded between 1988 and 1989 against Afghan rebels in the rugged terrain of the Penghancur Valley. However, it was in the 1999, the same year that the TOS-1 was first revealed to the public, that the TOS-1 first made a name for itself in the siege of the Chechen capital of Grozny. After sustaining terrible losses attempting to assault Grozny's center during the First Chechen War, for the Second War the Russian army surrounded the city with heavy artillery and tanks. It then dispatched small infantry teams to probe the Chechen defender. Once the Chechens opened fire, the artillery surrounding the city would pulverize the city blocks from which the fire originated. TOS-1s played a major role in these bombardments, and were also appreciated for creating explosions liable to detonate mines and booby traps left behind by the Chechen fighters. The use of the TOS-1 to eradicate city blocks in Grozny caused a number of complaints about collateral damage. In one incident, a strike killed 37 locals and wounded over 200. By the time the battle was over, the city had been reduced to a wasteland. At least 4 TOS-1s were sold to Iraq in 2014, and they were first seen entering action against ISIS in the battle for Jerf al-Sakar in 2014. The battle was a victory for an Iraqi Shia militia, although how much the TOS-1s contributed to that is unclear. Later video footage shows TOS-1s ripple-firing rockets on targets near Baiji, Iraq. The TOS-1s were also given to the Syrian Arab Army, which deployed them against various Syrian rebels. Most of the footage released appears to depict bombardment of rural areas such as the mountains around Latakia, rather than inner-city locations. However, a TOS-1 unit was recorded being used in preparation for an offensive against the city of Hama, and this June, opposition fighters posted a video apparently showing the destruction of TOS-1 near Hama by long-range anti-tank missiles. This highlights how the need to deploy the short-range TOS-1 closer the front line makes it vulnerable to such weapons. A TOS-1 was also spotted by the OSCE operating in a rebel training area in Luhansk in eastern Ukraine in 2015. Ukraine does not operate any TOS-1s, so the vehicle must be of Russian origin. There is no footage of the TOS-1 actually firing rockets in Ukraine, but the Ukrainian government claims they were used in the artillery bombardment that leveled Donetsk International Airport, forcing Ukrainian forces to withdraw in January 2015. However, other powerful artillery systems, including 2 S-4 mortars, are known to have been used in that siege. One of the lesser-known war zones involving the TOS-1 is the long-running conflict between Azerbaijan and Armenia over Nagorno-Karabakh. Russia has sold TOS-1s to both sides in the conflict. Azerbaijan has 18 and Armenia was sold an unspecified number. Armenian media reported this year that an Azerbaijani TOS-1A was destroyed in fighting in April after firing rockets on the position of Karabakh separatists. Both sides claimed the other initiated the skirmish. Are weapons deploying fuel-air explosives munitions inherently inhumane? While there is a debate to be had whether one manner of killing and harming human beings in war is inherently more unacceptable than another and should be banned, the more proximate concern with heavier FAE weapons that create very large blasts is that they are inherently indiscriminate. A TOS-1 rocket barrage will wipe out everything within the 200 by 300 meter blast zone. This is problematic when the weapon is employed against targets amid an urban civilian population typical of much of the fighting in Iraq, Syria, and Ukraine. The TOS-1A Soldsapek, a multi-barrel rocket launch (MBRL) system designed and developed by Omsk Transmash Design Bureau, is the latest variant of the TOS-1 flamethrower system. The TOS-1A was commissioned into service by the Russian Army in 2001. It offers direct fire support to complement main battle tanks and infantry fighting vehicles on the battlefield. The MBRL system was exported to Algeria, Azerbaijan, Iraq, and Syria. Azerbaijan received its first batch of 6 MBRL systems in 2014, followed by 6 more units in 2015. The Radiation, Chemical and Biological Protection (RCHBP) troops of Russia signed a contract to receive up to 20 TOS-1A Soldsapek rocket launchers in December 2017. TOS-1A rocket launch system design and development. The chassis of TOS-1A MBRL system is based on the T-72 main battle tank. It retains the same design, with the turret being replaced with the rocket launch facility.